numeracy. Now, this is a very welcome reform because this is the first time a policy has brought the 3 years of preschool into the purview of National Curricular Framework or the Ministry of Education. This is followed by 3 years of preparatory stage. Now, emphasis during this stage will be on introduction of formal but interactive classroom learning with activity-based pedagogy and the medium of instruction. So it has been proposed that the medium of instruction preferably should be the native language or the mother tongue of the learner, followed by 3 years of middle stage, this is classes 5, 6, sorry, 6, 7th and 8th. So learners of age group 11 to 14 years. Introduction of subject teachers and discussion of more abstract concepts will be encouraged here. And major highlight for this stage is introduction of vocational skills and development. This is followed by 4 years of secondary stage for learners of age group 14 to 18 years. Now, this is classes 9 to 12th. Now, this has been a major talk or debate for this stage has been the multidisciplinary study which has been introduced. So the learners will have a greater flexibility in the choice of subjects. So we will be seeing that the silos of stream system will be dissolved now, and children will be able to pick up the subjects of their choice. Now, so you cannot say that it is medical stream, this is non-medical stream. So because the children can pick up any subjects from a pool of subjects will be provided to them. Now, experiential learning has been given a lot of emphasis for all the stages because it has been proposed that we must shift from rote learning and textbook based teaching to a pedagogy where the children are involved. There is hands-on learning and there are a lot of projects, storytelling pedagogies. So vocational courses will be introduced. Bagless days have been encouraged so that children can do something which is based on some projects, or clubs and circles will be introduced in schools like science, maths, chess, drama, etc. In case of assessment and exams, the board examination, they will have lesser stakes now, and they will be redesigned. Now, over these years also, we have seen a lot of application-based questions which have been introduced. So that will be further encouraged, and the standards for board examinations will be set by an assessment body, PARAK, Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. Students will be able to choose many of the subjects in which they want to take board examinations. So in this entire policy, the students have been kept in the center. So, and the individualized interests of students have been given due importance. So there is a lot of personalization which has been introduced during any given school year. So one will be the main examination and the other one can be given for improvement. Now, students will take up examination conducted by an appropriate authority in classes 3, 5, and 8. Now, this is a reform which has been introduced to track the learning outcomes so that proper remediation can be provided to the students on time. The progress cards will be more holistic and 360 degree. It will be a multi-dimensional report which will be reflecting the progress and uniqueness of the learner. It will cover the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains of the learner. So it will just not reflect the marks that the child has obtained in the assessments, but also reflect a lot of personal details of the child, the behavior, and it will also include the self-assessment, peer assessment, and mentor assessment, and the progress of child in various activities which the child will undertake during the assessment period. Now, in case of higher education system, a national testing agency will be set up, which will be offering a common aptitude test. So this test will make the child eligible for admission in the higher education institutions. A multidisciplinary bachelor's degree with multiple exit options will be introduced. So depending on the time the learner has spent during the for the course. So if because of any reason the learner drops out, so he or she will be awarded a certificate after 1 year of study, diploma after 2 years, degree after 3 years, and degree with research credit after 4 years. Now, similarly, there are multiple entry options also. So an academic credit bank will be created for the learners, and depending on the credit the child has accumulated, he or she can pick up from wherever he's left. MPhil courses will be discontinued, and IIT is also to make changes embracing diversity of learning. So these are some of the major reforms which have been introduced in the this policy. So we saw that the children have been kept in the center stage, and lot of personalization and flexibility and skill development that has been added. So I would request Captain Rajiv Dhingra sir. So if we can hear from you your opening remarks very briefly, please let us know what do you find most laudable about this policy or anything that concerns you regarding its practicality or implementation, sir.
A very good morning to all of you. Can someone revert back by saying if they can hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible. We all can
Okay.
hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wishing you all a very happy 72nd Republic Day too, and a very auspicious occasion to choose by Lalaji Company. Uh, NEP, the most laudable thing is that we have another policy. We have been having these policies since since what? Since the British times, and now we have it again. One more policy. And like Rakhi ma'am rightly pointed out, how will we implement it? We had the CC, we dumped Mr. Kapil Sibal while when we removed his policy of CC, people said we can't implement it. So children have their careers ruined, their lives ruined for 7 years. We have another one. So we have to be careful. No policies. See, policies are formulated by learned people, experienced people. So there cannot be any deficiency in the policy. It is the implementation. And who is to implement? Teachers. Whose support is required? Parents. Who have to be at the center? The students. So are we ready? That was it, ma'am. That's it from me, ma'am, for now.
Thank you, Dhingra sir, for that. And now I would
Thank you,
request
sir.
Anju Malhotra
Yes, sir.
ma'am.
Sir. Thank you, sir. And very rightly you pointed out that this
Rakhi ma'am, our voice
am
is
I
reaching to
audible?
you a bit late. You are
Sorry.
audible. Our voice is reaching to you. I guess just 2-3 seconds
Okay.
late than the real time.
All
Right.
right.
So I would request if you can quickly log out and log in. Meanwhile,
We,
I would request Anju
I'll do
Malhotra
that.
ma'am, if you can have your quick opening remark. Anju Malhotra ma'am.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible, ma'am.
Okay. All right. First of all, a very, very happy 72nd Republic Day. And as rightly said by Captain Saab, the occasion is really, it's a very good occasion. The day when we are discussing about this national education policy. First of all, I would like to say that it's a very welcome reform, and I take it in a very positive, on a very positive note, because I would like to share my experience here. I had been associated with international baccalaureate curriculum for some time. I was into PYP, fortunate for that matter. And the national education policy, which has brought in the new reforms related to the early childhood care education, these, these strategies were already implemented by that school, Oak Ridge International School, Mohali. It was an IB curriculum. And I'm very happy. That time I would dream that, these strategies should reach to every single school of the country. And, it seems as if my dream has come true. With the advent of this new education policy, I can visualize all those things taking place in the schools of Finland, Switzerland, and the schools associated with PYP curriculum or MYP curriculum. Now I can visualize it happening in the CBSE schools also. So after a long gap of 35 years, the Indian government has replaced the national policy on education. So, and as Rakhi ma'am has already mentioned that the most important phase of this policy is ECCE, early childhood care and education, which was in fact to some extent a neglected part of the entire educational system. Under the 10+2 structure, this ECC was not included. So I'm very happy that the government has, covered the early childhood education also into the 10+2 system. So as we all know, the existing 10+2 system has been broken down into 4 stages of school years. That is 5+3+3+4. It has already been brainstormed a lot many times before. So I would focus my, my talks today on the first 5 years, which is aged between 3 to 8 years. And today I would be discussing some of the objectives of the early childhood care and education. So let me begin with the aims and objectives of this.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, we'll come back to you. Right now, we just wanted an opening remark,
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
and
all
we'll
right.
come back to
I would be focusing on
yeah.
ECC.
Yes, ma'am. We'll look forward to that. Yes, ma'am. We'll look forward to that, ma'am. I would now request Madam Rama Sethi, ma'am, if you can have your opening remark. Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself. Ma'am, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Ma'am, check a red mic icon.
Ma'am, at the lower part,
Click
there
on
would
it.
be an icon. You'll have to touch on, yeah, you'll have to click on that. I think me and ma'am will just figure that out. So I would request Dr. Pankaj Sharma, sir, if you can have your opening remarks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Ma'am,
very
meanwhile,
much.
maybe you can log out and log in again or something if you're not able to do it.
Yeah, first of all, good morning to all the dear panel members, and very good effort from School Allergy, especially Rajul and Rakhi Verma ma'am. Because I can see the school from Mathura, I can see a school from Delhi, and this is, I think this is my almost 10th and 11th session. The discussion on this education policy is really very much required in terms of implementation. At this point of time, I will say it's a welcome change for the school education, since I represent higher education domain, but the education policy is really very much required. The changes what has been suggested, but the point is how we are going to implement that. So definitely, I will be talking about more part of the implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Rama ma'am, have you been able to figure out?
Ma'am, can you put your phone in landscape and try? I guess there is some problem in the touch area also. If you can try now unmuting yourself.
The way we are helping Rama ma'am, the way we are helping Rama ma'am, I think the similar way we need to help each other to execute the policy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Meanwhile, Mr. Sunil Dangi, sir, if you can have your opening remarks.
Uh, Good morning, everyone. Happy Republic Day. And this after 34 years, such a drastic change is going to come into the education system. So I'll be talking about the new options which has been given to the student after class 10, and how the technology can help, because the option has been given, but the problem will come because of that also. Now how the technology can help, and what kind of platform we are developing which will help the child to make their life, or they choose the right career path for that. So I'm going to discuss about that. Thank you, Rakhi ma'am. I think Rama ma'am has come. Yeah. thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you, Mr. Dangi. Look forward to
morning.
hear from you. Yeah, ma'am.
Good morning,
Go
everyone,
ahead, ma'am.
and happy Republic Day to you. Happy Republic Day to everybody. I just was wondering when this had gone through all the changes which have been made and by the expertise. So I'm really glad because change is inevitable. We all know we need to make changes in our in the policies and in the other areas. But I feel that change should be gradual. This took long years. 34 years old national policy is now being changed, but it's changing for the good. I'm very happy. And today's uh, you know my concern for this is again implementing of this policy, which is very important, because when CCE came into being, I found out that public schools had no problems, but the places close to, I was in Delhi, so close to Delhi, wherever I went for inspection and, wherever I was sent to sensitize people, I found the knowledge was very little to them, and they were not able to, able to, implement it in a better way. So I think that we should try on the implementation part, and we should sensitize more and more people uh, to understand it, basically, whatever the changes are. And my today's focus would be, the can make improvements in the changes in the implementing of new education policy.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, very rightly, you pointed out that without successful implementation, it will just remain a vision document. And definitely, the goals which have been cited are very ambitious, and it will require a lot of brainstorming and sensitization of all the stakeholders. We look forward to hear from you, ma'am.
Yeah.
I now request Mr. Vinayak Sharma, sir, if we can hear from you, your opening remark.
Thank you, Rajulji, for that wonderful introduction, and Rakhi ma'am for the introduction of NEP. Um, very good morning to everybody, and a very happy Republic Day as well. I am coming from the background of arts and culture and music, to be very specific. So NEP has laid a very strong stress on the music education and how it needs to be put forward in the schools. So I will be discussing specific to that segment, and I'll lay down my ideas about the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. I now invite Captain Rajiv Dhingra, sir, to lead us into the session and kindly share his views. What has he understood, and how can we successfully implement? And what changes do you think, sir, it will, in the school education? What reforms are in store with the implementation of this policy?
Okay. A very good morning once again. And I might NEP. Am I able to share?
We were able to see your screen, sir. You just open. I mean, after sharing the screen, you just open the presentation. It will be visible, sir.
Okay. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yes, we can see your screen, sir, now. So just open your presentation on your device.
Okay. This is how it is. Is it coming? Can you see it?
Not yet, sir. The presentation is not visible. We can see your screen.
Okay. So I think.
So you can just minimize your browser, and your screen will be visible.
Okay, that's nice. Minimize my browser. Fine.
You have stopped the presentation. You need to click on present now. Yeah, now you can minimize the browser.
Minimize the browser.
Yes, yes.
I've done this
So your screen will be visible, whatever you are wanting to present.
here. Is it seen?
It is a
It's just a blank screen.
blank
Oh,
screen, sir.
okay.
You open your presentation, sir, on your device, wherever you wanting to present.
Now I've opened it.
You've opened it.
Yeah, yeah, that is there. I have been.
Um,
Wait a while.
so when you present, after that you've opened the presentation. Do you have the presentation ready
Yes,
on your device?
yeah, my presentation is minimized on the device only at the bottom.
So you can just after present now, and when your screen starts showing, you can just open that presentation.
Okay. But I don't think you people are seeing it.
Not yet. So you'll have to present. Right now, you're not sharing your screen.
Okay. Uh, See, I'm sharing the screen. Till here it is all right.
Yes.
And now, how do I bring that?
So now you minimize it, sir. Minimize this one. From the top right, you will minimize
Done.
this. Yeah. Now open your presentation
I have opened the presentation. I will-
on the same device, but it is not visible to us.
Yes.
Just scroll it a little.
No. Not seeing.
Okay. Um, will you able to mail it to any one of us, sir? I mean, you can mail the presentation and we can present for you maybe.
Okay.
Huh? Okay. I'll put my mail ID. I'll put my mail ID in the chat. You mail the presentation to me, sir. I put my mail ID in the chat. And yes, sir. So you just mail it to me. Meanwhile, I will request Madam Anju Malhotra, ma'am, if we can have you, and since you'll be discussing the most important uh, feature of the NEP, that is the first 5 years which have been included, the 3 years of preschooling, the early childhood care and education. If we can hear from you, ma'am.
Ma'am. We have been hearing also that the first 2 years of the child, especially from birth up to the age of 5 years, these years are very crucial development of the child, because your rest of the life depends upon life during the formative. I was very happy when the ECC was made an integral part of the new education policy, and it is aimed at promoting better overall learning development and well-being of our toddlers. We all hear that children are lacking in discipline sometimes. Like when we talk about our senior students, we say that they are not following proper code of conduct. They are not aware about the consequences that comes with our rights and responsibilities. We see that there is a gradual degradation of moral values in our children. They are getting more addicted towards the, towards what's coming up all through this technology. They don't know what kind of appropriate behavior to be. I mean, in other words, I would just sum it up. I mean, we can see equal dimension in the values of our adolescent children. So this is why, because during the formative years, we might have, we've ignored that part when it was the time to lay down the values in our children. Because that time we did not focus on what sort of, actions are, accepted by others, what kind of, check we need to have on our behavior, and ultimately what consequences come up. So with the advent of this early childhood care and education, the holistic development of the children ranging from 3 to 8 years would definitely come in, because the NCRT is planning all those pedagogical strategies. The teachers would also be trained. That's something that has been proposed in the national education policy. With the teacher training and with the proper uniform ECC curriculum, I'm very confident that at least this segment of our students, that will be taken care of well. Like ECC ideally consists of flexible play-based activity and inquiry-based learning. Now, see, till now, what is happening, like a different set of curriculum. Some schools, like somewhere is very heavy curriculum, they are beginning with Hindi also at a stage of class nursery. Somewhere it is more of activity based, and somewhere it is the pressure of the parents also. Like they feel the school which is teaching more, that school is better than the other. Oh, my child has these many tips, this age group. My picked up, these many skills at this. So there was no uniformity in the education curriculum. Now, or at least what we can expect, that a uniform and a balanced curriculum will be instituted at this level, so that, and this curriculum would be based, it is framed by any single entity. It is based on a lot of research work into early childhood, and then the curriculum is going to, the main aims of this curriculum would be focusing on physical and motor development of the children, then cognitive development, social, emotional, ethical development, cultural and artistic development, early language and literacy. That some physical and motor development, like we could see the little ones going with their heavy bags to the schools, and the tuition centers. I would not call coaching centers for these little ones. The tuition centers were also thronged by a child of 3 years, 5 years age. Group children are also seen, going to the tuitions in the evening after spending, after spending those 3 to 4 hours, and then parents would, send them to the tuition centers also. So now, in that process, the physical and motor development of the children was lacking to some extent. Physical, in the sense, the evening time, it was parents were also running rat race with their kids. Oh, my child should, stand out better than the other one. So that kind of thing was happening. So with this curriculum, we can focus on physical and have to develop an understanding of the world around them. And with this new curriculum that would be coming up, a lot of focus it would be laid on the understanding of the children, then socio emotional ethical development. This is what the problem solving skills, and they would be able to make respectful choices about their personal behavior, and consideration of ethical standards, and safety concerns about them, social norms. All these things would be covered under the socio-emotional and ethical development of the children. Then cultural and artistic development, like culture plays a very important role in, it plays an important role. It develops a sense of world, of the surrounding to the children. So we would be connecting our children more to culture, more to national integration. I mean, spirit of nationalism would be also fostered through this ECCE. And then we can make out that, values, connection to our roots, going back to the ethics, and making learning and teaching process more enjoyable. That's the crux and beauty of this ECCE. And then the focus would be more on early language and literacy. Like now we are teaching mathematics and English and Hindi. What we mean by literacy and numeracy, children would be able to apply classroom learning into their real life situation. That's the whole point. And the best part is the development of logical thinking in children. What is right? What is wrong? What is expected? What is not expected? And activity-based curriculum, all these things would be emphasized upon. And I feel, and I'm very sure that implementation, at least at this level, at the early childhood level, it should not be a major concern with all of us, because we were already, most of the schools had already been focusing on how to make this early learning, how to make early learning more enjoyable, more interesting, more catchy, and more funful for the children. And let's hope that this national education policy would target this segment of our students and parents also, and we move forward with a new vision. Thank you so much. This is all from my end, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very insightful and valuable thoughts. Very rightly, you've pointed out that we'll have to actually educate and sensitize our parents, because sometimes it's a perception which is very deep rooted, and you called it a rat race. Very right, yes. So we'll have to, the onus lies on us, the school leaders, that we'll have to sensitize the society, all the stakeholders, and make them understand what this new education system that we're aiming at. The goal is to train the children for life and not just for examination. Thank you, ma'am, for very valuable insights. I now request Sir, Captain Rajiv Dhingra, sir, to kindly. I think you've been able to share it, sir. I have also received your presentation.
You will have to do it for me, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Yes, that is how. This is the difference between learning and able to apply your learning. Very good morning to all of you. Once again, we are on the NEP 2020, and we just heard one ma'am from the Heritage School with her ideas about implementation of the policy. Can we have the next slide, ma'am? Thank you. The NEP 2020 lays particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential of each individual. It is based on the principle that education must develop not only cognitive, but the foundational capacities of literary and numeracy high order. Next slide, ma'am. Social, ethical, emotional. We have all been brought up with all these. The aim of education in ancient India was not just the acquisition of knowledge as preparation for life in this world or life beyond schooling, but for the complete realization and liberation of the self. So this is what we are hearing, and the NEP 20 also has the same intro. I have just copy pasted the first few lines that they have given. Can we have the next slide, ma'am? The teacher must be at the center of the fundamental reforms in the education system. And if you go on reading this to shape next generation of citizens, it must do everything to empower teachers, help them, and basic methods of quality control and accountability. Uh, can I have the next slide, ma'am? Remember now is our task, and I'm sure you all are running institutions. You are at the helm of affairs, managing education in places. Remember, who has been opting for the teaching profession so far? I will add so far because now they say there will be process in recruiting, and we have the teachers. Sorry to say, those who are good, which is for every profession. But since we are not there, we don't grow to become teachers in the first place. We may pass our CTET, TET, and what have you, entrance exams, but there are guidebooks for that. If you are educated to a certain level, if you have a degree, if you have a BEd, you appear in CTET with little genuineness, will pass it. But once you get into your jobs, you get into the government. That is why CTET is. CTET is not to become a teacher in our country with our overwhelming population. We will have the best as recruiting. What are they doing? They have their own statements to make. We have students from villages. We have a lot of issues. We have to, give a detailed report on the food that we give to the students. We also offer food. We are a day boarding school. We provide breakfast, lunch to the students, and we are managing it fine. The issue is, are we into this profession because we want to be there in this profession? Most of us are there for livelihood. Teaching is one profession which is not for livelihood. You are shaping the society. The only incentive that you have is that you are the makers of society. And imagine what wrath was given to teachers as online education started during the pandemic. Most people were sitting at home, only lambasting teachers. What is this quality? How will our students, our children were going to your school? Very difficult. Mind you, in a fortnight's time, 15, 20 days of online teaching, teachers mastered this also, from whatever levels. Our selection processes are such that we don't choose the best. We choose those who pass the exam. The best means those who have aptitude. And with the lot that we choose, and mostly private institutions, they even provision training for them, and we have seen it in the online training. The government teachers, I will not say about the whole country, at least where place where I come from, they were having most difficult times. There were issues. Online education was not possible. Internet connectivity was not there. But we have seen the material they have prepared. You go on Doordarshan, UP or of some state where this free online education is being offered on TV. I see those lectures, and barring some, most of them are just average or below average. Our teachers have achieved what they were supposed to. And see this, the new education policy help recruit the very best. How will we recruit the best? If the paper leaks, fine. Paper leaking is done for the teachers to be, who will make the society. This is our approach. If they are not caught, they will get the paper and they will pass. Is it even a criteria? And for aptitude also, we have guidebooks. Aptitude is insight. And aptitude, unless you test the aptitude, there is no point having whatever education system we have. Can I have the next slide, ma'am? The new education policy must provide to all students, irrespective of their place of residence, quality education. Yes, fine, but provide. No child is born without at least one talent. So do we have the process of identifying that talent and making the child or encouraging the child or provisioning the, the material which will help him, aid him in pursuing that talent? Education is a great leveler and is the best tool for achieving economic and social mobility, inclusion, equality. Initiatives must be in place to ensure that all students from such groups, despite inherent obstacles, there are no obstacles whatsoever. Only obstacle is the, I feel, is the government. Leave everything to the private holders and you will see. Just give them money to admit them to schools where people are dedicated, and most private institutions are dedicated. People may say that you are only making money, all right, but when there are people who are paying money to have their children achieve something, they will do it. All government institutions at the lower level, I think most, the higher institutions are doing wonderful jobs, making brilliant entrepreneurs and job workers. Our DRDO is working fine, but why can't each and every child be provisioned with the fundamental education? Can I have the next slide? And the marginalized citizens will be there forever till posterity. We are human. I just said that we are all the same. Provision the facilities. And it is not the academic attributes. We have to provide other attributes also. And let us see the attributes in the next slide, ma'am. I have listed a few. Local and global news of the country. Still, all this is happening, already happening. Next slide, ma'am. Can I have the next slide? Yeah. The implementation of previous policies on education has focused largely on issues of access and what have you. Previous slide, yeah. So these unfinished agenda, NEP, NPE 86, modified 1992, major developments in last policy 86-92, right to, in my opening statement also I mentioned, all these policies, they were made by learned people. And Professor Yashpal, he was an advocate of NEP since his research days. I saw some videos on YouTube on Scientific Indians. I am sure all of you must have gone through them. Marvelously done. But he was the, I think I heard him as the first person who said, "Ye kya padha rahe ho?" Unless the child is brought out of the classrooms, education is not complete. A parachute opens only in the open. It doesn't open in the classrooms. So the mind is like the parachute. Let the children go out. They must investigate. They should be given stimulus. Provide stimuli of various things. Check the reaction. And where the child shows interest, inclination, provision, what he requires. Next slide, ma'am. Designed by, we have our palm bearers, all right. World respects them, and even world respects the Indians. Next, ma'am. But see this. National employee, this is some years ago. Private employability solutions company. 18% engineers actually get a job. 1.2 lakh IT engineering management candidates surveyed. 91% lack programming algorithm skills. 71% lack soft and cognitive skills. 60% lack domain skills. 73% lack English speaking comprehension skills. Unfortunate, but true. Next slide, ma'am. It's the same for doctors. They search for the AIMS. All India Institute se karunga main medical. Aren't all graduating as MBBS followed by MS, MD, MCH, etc., etc. Switzerland, one report I read some years ago, has as many number of patents every year as we produce engineers. So NEP can be instrumental in doing this, but implementation. A lot of hard work is required. Next slide, ma'am. even after 70 plus years of independence and having rich ancient heritage and influence of education systems implemented by foreign rulers, quoting the qualities never incorporated and even missing in the NEP 20. Here they are. Next slide, ma'am. Do we instill effective intelligence or application? Will NEP do that? We have learned a lesson. Where do we apply? Is there a connect? If it is there, good enough. Reasoning aptitude. How can we reason what we think about a certain thing? Do we have the power of expression about expressing what we have read, how we will apply it in life? Adaptability. Can we adapt ourselves to circumstances in the nation, within our own state, district, or even at the international level? Do we have the initiative in us, or we are only studying to achieve an end, that is my livelihood? What will I become, how, what will I earn, and how my family will be supported by me? Courage, determination, and the skill acquisition that we are talking in this policy, will it be possible unless we instill, acquire the dignity of labor? How many people will send their children to become carpenters even if they have shown the interest? माँ मुझे carpenter बनना है. We only want an engineering degree. We don't even send our children to GTIs and ITIs to have a diploma because they are the people who actually work. Although if today even they outsource things to private ठेकेदार्स. In a Bijli Vibhag, you don't see the junior engineer or a lineman going on the pole. It is outsourced to a private mechanic who has learned from his father, grandfather, generation. They are working. So unless we have this respect for the labor who are skilled, we won't be able to. We are a generation, we are a nation where we want white collar thing. So we can add more. Academics is only a certification. Next slide, ma'am. We amass academic certificates, but do we take pride in applying for academic feet in anything but to find suitable livelihood? But for livelihood, what do we apply it for? Not at least in what we desire to have a certain life. Education enables us with the ability to see the world as we NY says. But we only see the world unless we apply ourselves, unless we do what we love to do. I think no policy can make this education system great. After 10 standard, what is the need of going for 12 standard degree? A great thing. NEP says once you go into the graduate course, undergrad, 1 year you get a certificate, 2 years you get a diploma, 4 years you get a degree. Great. But while he is out of the academic stream after 1 year or 2 years, where is the skill that we are provisioning for him? So he either asks his dad to open a business and sits in the shop, or he does something for a livelihood but will never be happy because he is not doing what he would have loved to do in life. Next slide. So that is all. I think I must not have short up time. I already wasted some minutes in the sharing part earlier. Thank you very much, all of you. I would be hearing the others also. I hope I have shared what I felt. No policy is bad. Learned people are there, sitting at the help everywhere. But how do we implement? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Very remarkably, you've highlighted some of the major challenges which have been prevailing in the education system since long. And let's be hopeful that through such deliberations and brainstorming sessions, we'll be able to pave a path which will lead us to the goal of education. Because, the aim of education should not be just adding on years and certificates into the files of the children. The aim is actually to turn these empty minds into open minds. So it is now that we've all been talking about not teaching our learners what to think, but how to think. So, and we've been talking about learning to learn. So let's be hopeful that through successful implementation, we'll be able to reform the education system. Thank you so much, sir, for your very valuable insights. I now request Dr. Pankaj Sharma to let us know, because there has been a lot of emphasis on skill education, vocational training of the children. So I believe that, we are looking at a partnership between schools and these higher education setups. So I request Dr. Pankaj Sharma to kindly let us know how we can, have a fruitful partnership with these institutions.
Thank you, Rakhi Verma ma'am. First of all, I think a very detailed presentation by Captain Sir. I just want to comment here one thing. We should have some kind of a roadmap. We should have some kind of a guideline to make sure that whatever we want to achieve. Because I remember I was in last organization, NIT University, and there was a government school nearby to that office. So I was watching students, especially boys, coming from school without any objective. I was really worried that what they will do. So I think there are a lot of schools are doing good effort, but there are many schools they are not doing anything. I will not say name of the school, even some government schools. But yes, having said that, if we have some updated policy, which is almost by more than 30 years they took to create the policy, and there are some important things what I realize as a person from the higher education. One is the vocational training, because I also I did my BSc electronics and my MBA and also 1 year program from IIM Lucknow. But there are I don't remember whatever I studied in school. I'm using it in my professional career at this point of a time. So that's one very important thing is the vocational exposure to the student. Even at higher education system, we have lot of intervention from the industry, like we have a tie-up with IBM, Zapier, TCS. We recently started a center of excellence in association with Siemens and also Bosch. Now, why this is important? Because students are really exposed to the industrial environment where one has to go finally, even after your, let's say, school dropout, or you can say higher education, you have to definitely you need to go to the corporate world. So as an higher education institute, as an SRM university, and there are a lot of universities and colleges across, and they can bring a lot of uh, important stuff from the corporate in terms of the guest lectures, in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the projects, live projects. I have seen students studying in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th class. They are involved in a lot of projects. I have that's some hackathon, lot of things which are really good initiative by the corporate. Where as in higher education system, we can always help. In addition to that, there are industry visit is also possible. I remember in my one of my speech I talked about this, the industry visit to the various industries or the various corporates. This will give a lot of exposure to the student. I just give one example here. Some of the schools, and I hope the school what we have at this point of time, they may be doing this kind of activity. There is a 15 days or a month time when they have their vacations, especially summer vacations, 2 months vacation. Some of the schools are doing the kind of a professional touch with the student. They are sending them for the internship, maybe a 15 days internship or a 21 days internship. Suppose you want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer, lawyer, or there are a lot of professionals. And if you, as a student, have an opportunity and interact with these professionals, you will have a really insight that if I want to become a doctor or let's say engineer, what are the skills are required? Whether I am really choosing the right career, if I personally visiting or personally working with that particular professional. I think this will definitely help when we talk about the vocational kind of a thing. Like at our university, SRM University Sonipat, we have one very good thing which this policy talks about the you can study a lot of subjects. There is no boundaries. So we have a very unique system of choice based credit system. You are an engineer, you want to go for engineering as a main professional, but yes, you want to study music, history, economics as a subject. So that is your choice. You can take these subjects as according to your choice. So students are really enjoying. So this kind of a freedom, this policy is talking. And second or third important point is if you don't want to continue your higher education, you want to drop out after 1 year or let's say second year or third year, there's always a win-win for the student. You can have the certificate, you can have the degree. There are a lot of options which this policy talks about. Earlier, it was only dropout Because if you talk about the especially developing country like India, we need lot of entrepreneurs. And this is the age when you are in the education system between, let's say, 12th and higher education. At this age, you can take a lot of risk. Like I am almost in mid of my career, even I've crossed that. If I have to take a risk, if I have to leave my job and I'm thinking to start something, I will not take that risk because I'm not in that position. I have a lot of obligations. I have a lot of no, that's the responsibilities. I will say for my parents, for my daughters, for my son, for my wife. So at that age, this policy talks about if you have 12th and you have just 1 year of study in your college, will give you the certificate. You can again come back and you can complete your study. So these are few things which will definitely change the system what we have at present. I have seen students coming from the school education. If you talk about the corporate exposure, there is zero exposure to that student. And when you talk about the vocational thing, I remember, and you also agree to this, whenever we had lab in our school time, we really enjoyed. Whenever we have gone to the, let's say I studied biology, there was a some garden we developed, and whenever there was a period for one hour period, we really enjoyed. We still remember that whatever we have studied outside the class. So this study outside the class is really important. If we start early, then definitely result will as what we are expecting. And last, I just want to say one thing because I've been traveling to many schools. Though 2020 was some restriction because of pandemic, but definitely last 12 years I'm going to many schools. What I realized, there are few schools they are self-dependent, but there are few schools which need a lot of support. So I suggest wherever we can help schools, where we can have as in higher education institute, I think we should come forward and we should try to implement this policy. The policy is really good. There are always good and bad part of everything. I think let's focus on the good part and try to execute that. So I just want to say thank you again to Rajul and Raki ma'am. I think the way they are conducting these sessions, really very professional way. And second, I think the whatever discussions we had or we are going to have in the future, they are going to create one sort of, I will say, directory or one sort of uh, whatever suggestions book. I will not name for that, but I think that is important so that we will able to execute this policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. And very rightly, you pointed out that, see, we are actually inhabitants of an era where collaboration and coexisting, so collaborate and coexist. This is, you can say, a life skill. So it is very important that we're able to educational institutions, whether it is the higher education institutions or the schools, we'll have to collaborate and be because a continuum has to be set. Only then the learner will be able to benefit. A continuum between the school education and the higher education institutions and the job industry or the entrepreneurial world. A continuum has to be set up, and we'll have to together lead our learners to in that direction. Thank you so much, for your insights. I now invite Madam Rama Sethi. Ma'am, if we can have your thoughts. Ma'am, you'll have to unmute yourself. meanwhile, I would then invite Mr. Sunil Dangi, sir, till the time ma'am is able to solve the glitch she's facing. So I invite Mr. Sunil Dangi, sir, if we can hear from you, your insights and your thoughts.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to start with that the basic purpose of education is that to earn the livelihood and to be happy and to be the good citizen. Now, the one important part is which I said is to be happy, right? And to be happy, we should enjoy whatever we are studying and whatever we are doing. Now, what is happening is if 90% of the people, those what they are working, they haven't studied that, and what they have studied, they are not doing it. It's a vice versa. So basically, to have a happiness in life, you should enjoy doing it, and livelihood will obviously come from that. So, as Dr. Sharma was also saying the similar thing, and Kraki ma'am was also saying that there is a very there is a very less continuum between the school studies and after studies in school, then the college, and from the college to the job. So, and what happens is that if plane while taking off will will be 1 degree off from the route, and say there's a plane taking off from Delhi and it has to go to New York. So if there will be that plane will be 1 degree off while taking off from Delhi, by the time it will reach to the New York, it will not land into the New York, it will be landing somewhere in the Brazil. So it is very, very important at the right time, we should decide the route. And if some mistake happens, that should be, corrected immediately. Now, as the new education policy has given the extra wings to the child. When I was a student, I was good at math. That's why I took the non-medical in class 11. And but I also wanted to study economics and accounts and all those subjects. But that options were not available. Now those options are available, and those options are available now in higher education as well. Now they are talking about the multidisciplinary universities, right? So this is a very, very good step. So it is not like that once you have done some mistake you will have to remain there. There is a possibility of correction has been provided in the new education policy, but it is better instead of correcting if you take the first step at the right way. Now we have been working with the psychologist, and we have been working with the counselors for last 2 years. That is for the choice how to choose the right career. Generally, the traditional ways of choosing the career seems to be not the best way, because the traditional ways are like while choosing a career, a child will talk to his relatives, his or her relatives, parents, teachers, friends, or maybe he will search on internet also. But are these sources which are trying to guide the child, do they have the full information of the careers? Do they understand the importance of the aptitude, personality, and interest of the child? It is very, very important that there is nothing wrong or right. For example, if there is an elephant and there is a camel, right? I Whatever I'll teach to a camel, I cannot make it a elephant. A camel has its own importance, and whatever I'll teach to the elephant, I cannot make it to the I cannot change it. I cannot ask the elephant to do the work of the camel. So it is very important to identifying the aptitude of the child, what is the personality of the child, and what is the interest of the child, and accordingly we should, and that can be done in a very, very scientific way. Earlier these things were not available, but now there's a and the corporates, after study, a child when go to the corporate, even in the college placements, the companies come and they conduct these psychometric assessments to find out that what kind of role the child will fit for. So why can't we use such kind of technologies at the early stage when we are choosing the after class 10th, when we are choosing the which stream we should take and which is the best fit career for us? So we have developed a very, very interesting and engaging platform for the child by doing a lot of research. I'll just take 2-3 minutes to take you through that platform. Just allow me to share my screen. Rakhi ma'am, can you see my screen?
No, sir, not yet. Now it is visible.
Okay, thank you. This is a platform, and this is the student dashboard. There are multiple dashboards which are available for the colleges, schools, parents, and various stakeholders. So the first thing is that a child need to explore what are the career which are what are the career which are available for the child. And in the career, all the information should be available, that what a child will be doing in that particular career, what are the prospects of that particular career. There's a and then after that, what will the job prospect of this of that career once the child will pass out. All these information are required for the uh, the person who is helping the child to choose the right career. All this information is available in a multilingual format, in a multilingual audiovisual format. Nobody need not to read the boring text. They can watch the video, they can listen to it, and wherever they are in a they're in park on everything. So this is the first part, is the career exploration. After the career exploration, the most important question is, what is the best fit for that particular child? We keep on asking such questions from the child. आप क्या बनना चाहते हो? But nobody tells them. This does not exist in a scientific way to tell the child that this is your potential. You are an elephant, or you are a camel, or you are a horse. So these are the scientific tool to find out that what kind of what personality you have. After finding the best fit career, what are the colleges and what are the exams, and this is the plans for the child. With the child which is making a plan for himself, he can, after exploring, he can keep on making his wish list. He can keep on making the wish list of the career, and this is career which I would like to go for. This is a wish list. Out of, there are around 70,000 careers, and after these are the entrance exam, which entrance exam he wants to appear for. He can keep on making such list, and what are the colleges he wants to apply for. All the information of the about a college is available. What is the rank of this college? What is the placement? What are the entrance exam required? What are the important dates? What are the admission criterias? And every information is available. So a child, once will enter in this platform, they need not to go out. They can there's such a beautiful, there's an assessment report. They can just see what are the best fit career for me. These are the best fit career for this particular child. So this is a very engaging and very beautiful platform. A child can always keep all the information, that all his academic records. He need not to he need not to go to visit again and again the hard copies. The every information, class 11 these were my marks, in class 10 these were my marks in Hindi, this in ninth class this is what I did. The NEP is talking about the holistic performance. These are the sports participation he has done, this was the rank, it was in this class. This is the internship the child has done. These are the apart from, these are the aptitude, numerical aptitude, and what are the percentage in which class. This aptitude we are also providing. So this is a single platform where a child can explore. After psychometry, find the best fit, he can explore college and exam. He can directly apply from this platform itself. He can keep all his records here. He can keep on making his wish list. So every information, and these are the suggestions which will be coming from us based on artificial intelligence and machine learning based kind of things, that what he's searching, what he's looking for should come into as a suggestions. So this is that beautiful platform which we are developing, and it's almost complete. The beta version is coming up. So this is very much required. Such we should have such kind of platform. When I was a student, such platforms were not available, and this is the we should use the technology, and to solve is all about the career choice, how a career should be chosen in a scientific way. Uh, uh, Thanks. I will rest over here. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tangi, and I must congratulate you for coming up with such need-based solution. See, in the NEP, we've been talking a lot about personalization of education, and it is catering to the individualized interest. But this will be effective only if the child knows where exactly his interest lies and what are the options
Yes.
available. What is the use of taking this combination of subjects, and with this combination, what are the options that I have in store with me? What are the careers available? What are the colleges and what are the courses available? So I must congratulate you with coming up with such a beautiful solution, which is definitely going to be very effective.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable presentation. I now request Rama ma'am. Ma'am, have you been able to resolve? Ma'am, why don't you log out and then log in? You log out and you log in, and when you log in, you don't mute yourself. You log in with the audio. You log out and you log in. You know, when you log in, you log in with the audio. Yeah. Yes, you can log out and log in again. Meanwhile, I request Mr. Vinayak Sharma, sir, if we can have your thoughts.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Sharma, you are.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Uh, as I said that I will be laying stress to the music aspect of the NEP 2020 philosophy. Uh, Sadly, for many schools, music is never a priority. You know, the thought process that are currently missing in the school masses are that there has been a general lack of curriculum, lack of awareness of different music genres, how a career oriented music education can improve a child's future, availability of instruments and dedicated infrastructure in schools, school level performance opportunities, and weightage for music education. I would like to highlight a 5-year transnational studies that was conducted by Mysore University scholar DVK Vasudevan. It was published in 2018. The purpose of that study was to analyze music education in schools across India. The ratings of the central schools as well as the state level boards were compared to those of the schools in the Western countries with special focus on USA. Now, the study found that while the government of India, the HR ministry, and NCERT profess the value of music education, there has been a total failure to incorporate these ideas in the Indian schools. We all know that cognitive scientists, educationalists, and learning experts have produced innumerable studies that establish the value of music education for children. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. But owing to the pressures of the modern education system, not every child has an access to the integration of some level of music learning. While this integration is mandated in all the boards, including CBSC and ICSC, but effective implementation has been beyond the reach of even schools with the best of intentions. Very few schools encourage students to opt for music as a mainstream subject. Now, with the NEP 2020, I'm glad that the demarcation of music as a co curricular activity has been removed and it stands equivalent to any mainstream subject. Uh, Most of the boards and schools have treated music as a non scholastic and extracurricular activity, which was not at par with the scholastic subjects. But students that were committed to pursuing music have found it difficult to juggle academics with music in a current environment. If the NEP 2020 is implemented thoroughly, most of these challenges will be overcome. Now, sometimes private schools in India, which do not have their own music teachers, invite some professionals to instruct students and conduct events to perform. Uh, but before and after these occasional activities, music is not available to the students on a continued basis. This is where we, Torrens, as a company, stepped into India in 2017 and have been successfully laying structure to the music education in India for our 80 plus associated schools in India and 200 plus schools in the US. We provide the necessary infrastructure at zero cost to schools, a modernized curriculum for music education for both instrumental learning and non instrumental learning that is strongly based on the NEP 2020 philosophy, providing young, trained, and skilled manpower who can adapt to the new methodologies of teaching. Like NEP 2020 lays a lot of stress on training the manpower, and we are focused towards that. We also ensure that the day to day maintenance of the music equipment is done at zero hassle to the schools. Providing a performance platform to the students is also important. We do that through our national band contest, which is held once a year in Pune, having a live audience of around 7,000 people. We try to bring in the highest of globally accepted standards and techniques, both in terms of technology for online learning and for in-school music education, delivering it to the school at a very economical cost so that students of any economic background can have access to structured music education which they truly deserve. I believe along with teaching the subjects for purely examination purposes, we need to teach the students confidence to excel as well. And this can be achieved by teaching them music and inculcating with them the ability to perform on stage as well as in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for letting us know about Torrance. Uh, and I must appreciate that art has been always identified as a way of expression. You know, it's very basic to human expression, and we always say that we must be able to inculcate creative thinking and design thinking in the children. And uh, definitely, music is one means through which it is possible. Uh, so I'm sure with your partnership, the schools can definitely introduce it in a better way. Thank you so much for sharing with us the details. Um, I now move on to Rama ma'am. Have you been able to? Why don't you leave and join again, ma'am? Okay, this is all right. Um, we have received a lot of questions from the participants. So I would request our speakers if we can have the answers from you, sir. So first I would request Captain Rajiv Dhingra, sir, if sir you can please take this question. Sir, are you there? Captain Dhingra, sir? I think even he is not able to connect. Okay, I would request Madam Anju Malhotra, ma'am, ma'am, if we can. Yes, ma'am. So this question is from Madam Nishtha Kohli. She is from OP Jindal Global University. Now, the question
Right.
she has asked is that what are the challenges in implementation of NEP 2020? So, ma'am, if you could highlight some of the challenges that you foresee, which we'll come across while implementing this NEP.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Policies have been envisioned by experts, and the biggest challenge that we can foresee is definitely when it comes to its implementation and execution part. Uh, I don't think that it would be as difficult as we are comparing it with the CCE pattern, because there around 35% of the schools could not implement it on the grounds. But when it comes to the national education policy, you see how it has been launched and what kind of rigorous trainings are happening at all quarters to train the leaderships, to train the teachers. The awareness has already been set in. It is not just the bringing in of a small strategy, because when we talk about CCE, it was just a strategy with regards to the conduction of assessments, right? But then when we are talking about national education policy on the whole, it is the entire revival of the education structure, and the government right at the central level, right at the state level, district level, and then we go down to every minute level. Everyone has been incorporated into the system to frame this policy. Everyone has already been made aware of this, that we are going to implement this. So the spade work has already been done, and accordingly strategical plans have also been made to make it a nationwide mass movement. So I don't think that it would be that challenging in terms of its implementation. And you see, like, this is Lalaji School, and likewise, like, I had been attending lot many other webinars also. I had been a speaker at lot many other platforms also. So You see, now the talk of the day, it is national education policy. So when it is, it has become the talk of the day, like Corona. Nobody knew about the, preventive measures of Corona. Nobody knew what coronavirus is. So when it has, through media and through all those platforms, when it becomes a buzzword, I'm sure implementation should not be a big concern. Of course, I mean, at the ground level, it does take, excuse me, sir. At the ground level, it would take some time to implement the policy, but then, we have to be positive. First of all, have a positive framework. Only when we are positive and we take the things in the right stride, I think everything is possible right now. And of course, I mean, it is not an overnight kind of a change. It would take at least an year or so. So we should have patience, some kind of tolerance, and definitely a positive mindset to make the things happen. And I mean, change will not be brought by the state governments or the central government. It is we who have to bring in the change. And with the kind of awareness, with the kind of this education about national education policy we are creating, it is going on at the ward footing level, ma'am. So being positive, that's the only key word right now for me. And we do see it, we visualize it's happening on the grounds. That's the only thing I have for now. And let's keep away all our apprehensions. If we have it within us, we can make it happen. We can make it happen.
Thank you, ma'am. A very positive answer. Yes, definitely. And there could not have been better times for, such a comment, because when the whole world came to stand still, the educators could make it happen. We could reach out to our children and, within days we could switch over to digital mode. Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. I now request Mr. Sunil Dangi. Sir, if I can pose the next question to you, sir. Mr. Sunil Dangi. Mr. Sunil Dangi, do we have your presence? Mr. Vinayak Sharma, can I put the next question to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this question has come from Madam Hitansha Arora from Alma Mater School. The question she has put is that, what benefits do you see in store for the learners after implementation of this policy? So she wants to know what are the benefits for the learners that we see.
Basically, ma'am, the core of NEP 2020 lies that making India a global knowledge superpower. So, for the learners, if they are having equal opportunities for all the subjects, I think that is the biggest thing that an educational policy can give to a child, is the opportunities to excel in whatever they want to excel. Like I said in my discussion, the demarcation of arts and sciences have been removed by NEP, and they have bought everything at par. So a student might be particularly good in some other skill set than maths or science, which might not even be explored. So once we provide them with all these opportunities as NEP 2020 has laid down, I think it should be beneficial to all the learners.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you.
Um, Captain Dhingra, sir, can I put the next question to you, sir?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes. Now, the vocational training will be given to the students effectively. So she has a little apprehension about the vocational training that we've been talking about. That how will we be able to effectively implement vocational training in the schools?
Okay, thank you. Even I am apprehensive about vocational training. What vocation, what do we understand by vocation? Vocation means taking up something as a profession. So we have to have skilled vocational instructors in the first place. Unless we place them in the schools, where and from where will we place them, I do not know. I can only quote the example of our school, which is a day boarding school. We have been offering stimuli to students for everything which is which we can see, whether it is sports and games, whether it is co-curriculars, whether it is music, drawing, painting, whatever resource could be made available in a small town like Bareilly, we have tried. And we have been fortunate that with the co-curricular, vocational being part of it, that our children evolved, they have started making their place wherever they go in the world. So for vocational training, we need to have very dedicated teachers. And CBSE should also, probably they have already permitted for part-time teachers on vocational training things for co-curriculars. So if that comes in black and white for the schools, schools will be able to employ part-time teachers for an hour or two during the day to offer this vocational stream. And as Vinayak Sharma also stated, sorry Vinayak, you seem very young, so I am taking your name, or you want me to take your name as Mr. Vinayak Sharma? That will make you old.
You can just call me Vinayak, sir. That's all good.
That's a lovely name. And like he mentioned, that music becomes a vocational subject. And imagine, while they started this vocational affiliation, we applied in 2018 or 19. They say you can start, but we are not starting because we don't have it in black and white in writing. So CBSE has not given it to us in writing as yet. So our 11th standard will go into 12th standard without any vocational subject as the mainstream subject, as an optional. And we have in the day boarding system many students who have got this vocational aspect at the back of their head. In class 10 we have started, because class 10 they immediately send. For class 12 they ask for money also. A fee is there. So my suggestion through the NEP or through such seminar for the CBSE or any government HR ministry would be that CBSE should be concerned only with affiliation. Once the affiliation is done, they should say whatever subject you can choose it and inform us. We will formulate a plan for implementation, make question papers and allow students to appear in the board exams or for practicals in that subject. They should not be bothered about what subject you can opt for. What now that that grouping is out, if we had been offering, if somebody was asking for bio with economics, we used to offer. Only thing was the student used to be in the school for an extra hour for that extra economic subject. Okay, because he was a science student otherwise. So we have been doing what we can within the framework. Now the framework has broadened. All right, that's very nice. But for vocational optional subjects, we need to have teachers, and they cannot be regular, because all 40 students in the class would not opt for one vocation. They will opt for seven. Seven students will opt for seven vocational subjects. So if CBSE allows us to, have part-time teachers who would be teaching in many organizations and doing their own personal, professional, vocational work for livelihood also separately. So they have the option. They come to a school, gives vocational training for that subject, then it's fine. So I wish all the best to those like Vinayak, who is very aggressive on this. And I am personally with you, Vinayak. Thank you, ma'am.
So, Mr. Sharma, you have a taker.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
The next question I would request Mr. Dangi to take, because we have an entrepreneur with us. So this question has also come from Alma Mater School. A teacher has asked us that how do you think the private schools are going to raise funds for effective implementation of NEP? So what are your
First
suggestions?
of all, yeah. Once, policy. So how the business works. Ultimately, the customer pays for it. Directly, indirectly, how or whatever the way it happens, at least for the private schools. And as far as the government is concerned,